We often think that once a paper has been written, then the author's part in the scholarly communications process is complete. But this is not so. A writer's text is a message, and that message needs a megaphone so that it can be broadcast to the world. Scholarly publications like journals, books, conference proceedings, and so forth become your megaphone. They broadcast your message. It is important, therefore, to pick the megaphone that is pointed in the direction of the audience that you hope to target. Every publication is different, so you'll want to keep a lookout for some of the key elements that will help you decide which publication is most suited for your message. First, you'll want to identify the journal's scope and purpose. What subject or subjects does the journal cover? What does the journal say its articles intend to do? Also, consider the journal's audience. A journal written for neuroscientists will treat subjects like mental disorders and substance abuse quite differently than would a journal written for psychologists. Survey the journal's recent issues and get a sense of the kinds of articles that the journal tends to publish. This will also give you an idea of the topics that the journal most frequently engages. Finally, take a look at the journal's impact factor. We'll discuss the impact factor later in this presentation, but for now, just know that the higher the impact factor, the more prominent the journal. While you certainly want to get your work into a journal of prominence, those journals often have a low acceptance rate. So, you'll want to look at high, middle, and low impact journals to decide which gives you the best chances of publication. In order to determine which journals are available to you, you could run a basic Google search for scholarly journals in your field. Google will give you general results with the highest hits. This means that the most prominent, highest impact journals are likely to be first in your search results. You may miss smaller journals entirely, or your results might be confounded with journals from other disciplines and research labs that do not solicit publications. A better approach to this is to type your topic into a search through one of our library's databases. This will give you a sense of the kinds of publications that are interested in your project. If my topic was mechanical exoskeletons for military, for instance, my library search returns sources from journals like Advanced Materials Research and IEEE Transactions on Robotics, and conference proceedings from Maricopa Advanced Technology Education Center's Web of Conferences. Keep in mind, too, that journals want to continue conversations, so you may want to comb your essay sources to determine where they have been published. If your essay responds to an article already published in a certain journal, you may have a good chance of getting published as a follow-up in that journal. Don't be fooled by larger publications, however. Publishers like Elsevier, Wiley, Springer, IEEE, and Oxford Journals are all large corporations that publish several smaller journals. If you land on a journal published by one of these entities, make sure that you base your audience analysis on the journal and not the larger publisher. For example, if I'm working on my mechanical exoskeletons project, I might land on an IEEE journal called Transactions on Mechatronics. In order to determine whether this journal will be interested in my topic, I will look for a link that tells me about the journal. Generally, I will be able to find the journal's aims and scopes on this page. This journal claims to focus on the synergetic integration of mechanical engineering with electronic and intelligent computer control in the design and manufacture of industrial products. I might assess, therefore, that my mechanical exoskeleton is an industrial product derived from this kind of synergetic integration, so this journal would work for me. On this About page, I can usually find the journal's impact factor. The impact factor is a measure of the frequency with which the average article in a journal has been cited in a year. An impact factor of 3.4, for instance, means that your article could be cited as many as 3 to 4 times per year if it were published in this journal. Once you have found your journal, look for links with names like information for authors, contributor instructions, or submitting a manuscript, and so forth. All journals require specific citation styles, usually some variation of APA. So follow up on these links to learn the citation and formatting style expected by your journal. IEEE, for example, has a complete style manual in its Author's Digital Toolbox. Search that style menu to help you craft your parenthetical references and bibliography. Don't try to make your essay look like the final published version of an article in the journal. That's the editor's job. Other journals might not have such elaborate resources, but they will still provide guidance for your citation styles. The website for the journal Literature and Theology, for instance, has a page called Information for Authors. On that page, there's a paragraph about the preparation of manuscripts, which contains instructions on line spacing, title page information, and abstract information. Below that, there's another paragraph on organizing references. The editors have even provided an example of their preferred bibliographic reference style for a book or other primary document, and for an article from a scholarly journal. Be meticulous in your search. Sometimes you might find yourself on a website of a journal that poses itself as scholarly, but that journal might actually be a predator. Predatory publishers do not actually circulate articles in the scholarly venues that you're hoping to break into. Rather, they prey on budding scholars with promises of publication, but they make their money by charging their authors submission and/or publication fees without the promotional support that true scholarly journals offer. Generally, if a journal promises a submission to publication time that seems too brief to effectively conduct a peer review process, this should take about 6 months. Or if the journal demands payment up front for the privilege of being published, then your skepticism should kick in. That's not to say that all journals who require payment for publication are predatory. Sometimes journals have very good reasons for charging fees. A fee for open access publishing is pretty common, for instance. To verify that your journal is on the up and up, search Jeffrey Beal's list of predatory publishers for the title of your publication. Jeffrey Beal is a Colorado librarian who tracks predators and catalogs them on his website. S&T has our own version of Jeffrey Beal, however, and his name is Roger Weaver, our scholarly communications librarian. If you are ever unsure about whether a journal is reputable or not, Roger is the man to contact. He will help you navigate the often hazy landscape of the scholarly publication process.